Welcome to the Kunate Impact Show, where growth begins with accountability and leadership is built through action. I'm Abdul Kunate, and every episode is designed to give you practical, real-world insights you can apply immediately to lead yourself better, lead others stronger, and build something that lasts. Because real impact starts with how you show up every day. Let's dive in. Hook. Imagine rolling out a new process that was supposed to save hours each week, only to find people angrier than before, deadlines missed, and a quiet exodus back to old habits. I learned this the hard way when a cross-functional workflow I baked in an ivory tower planning session collapsed the moment it hit the front line. We had metrics, a rollout plan, even a training deck, but adoption cratered. That moment forced a question I still ask myself: what if the problem wasn't the people, but the system we asked them to work in? Today's promise, I'll give you a tight framework I call operational empathy. You'll get 3 outcomes by the end of this episode. 1, how to map the real friction points with frontline voices. 2, how to design minimal, reversible process experiments that build credibility. And 3, how to embed feedback loops that sustain execution. And yes, practical steps you can try this week. Personal story. A few years back, I led a program to unify intake across 4 departments: sales, operations, legal, and finance. On paper, it reduced duplicate work and clarified handoffs. In practice, it slowed a handful of teams and broke informal workarounds they relied on to hit customer deadlines. The result? Polite emails pushing back, late deliverables, and a growing sense that change was another initiative. I remember sitting in a meeting and hearing someone I trusted say, "This feels like something built for us, not with us." That line landed like a bell. It shifted the work from getting people to follow a plan to designing a plan that followed people. Insight 1, map friction with frontline voices. The goal here is simple. Find where the system creates more work, confusion, or risk for the people doing the day-to-day. Start with the short, targeted listening sprint. Step 1, pick 5 to 8 frontline contributors across roles. Step 2, run 15-minute interviews with a consistent script. Ask, walk me through the last time this task slowed you down. What workaround did you use and why? And if you could change one small thing, what would it be? Use their answers to create a 1-page friction map. 3 columns: friction, impact, current workaround. That map becomes your North Star, not a steering committee memo. A quick interview script you can use. Thanks for your time. This will take about 15 minutes. Tell me about the last time X process slowed you down. What did you do instead? What did you lose or risk by doing that workaround? If we fix one part, what would help you the most tomorrow? Keep it curious, not corrective. The point is to listen for patterns, repeated workarounds, hidden steps, or rules that make no operational sense. Insight 2, design minimal viable process changes. Once you map friction, resist the urge to rebuild the whole system. Instead, design small, reversible experiments that target the highest impact friction. Think minimal viable process. A clear example from my work. We replaced a multi-step approval email thread with a single digital triage note plus an 48-hour rule for escalation. It cut the back and forth in half and respected frontline timing. Key design rules. Make it reversible, define a short pilot window, and set one primary success metric: adoption rate or time saved. How to run a minimal experiment. Pick a single team, limit the change to 1 or 2 steps, and give it 7 business days. Communicate the hypothesis. We believe this will save 2 hours per week per person, and the guardrails. Who owns decisions, how to revert, and what metric we track. Use early wins to build credibility. Publish 1 concrete stat after week 1. The combination of small scope and visible outcomes reduces fear and builds momentum without mandates. Insight 3, embed feedback loops. Experiments are useless if feedback disappears after a kickoff. Embed short, predictable rhythms, a daily signal, a weekly huddle, and a retrospective at the end of the pilot. For example, a 5-question daily check-in that takes 60 seconds. Was the change helpful today? Any blockers? One suggestion? Feeds into a weekly 20-minute sync where the team reviews the friction map, the metric, and one improvement to try, then iterate. The discipline is low effort but high signal. Metrics to watch: adoption rate, cycle time for the affected task, and one quality indicator, errors, rework, or customer touches. But don't drown in data. Use one primary metric and two supporting signals. If adoption is rising but quality suffers, you halted too many checks. If quality stays high but adoption lags, the change likely added hidden work. These guardrails keep empathy from becoming permissiveness. Empathy informs constraints that protect outcomes. Practical playbook. A 7-day operational empathy experiment you can run this week. Day 1. Pick one process and 5 frontline contributors. Day 2. Run the 15-minute interviews and build a 1-page friction map. Day 3. Design a 1-step experiment and define the hypothesis plus primary metric. Day 4. Launch with the pilot team. Communicate the experiment, the rollback plan, and have it give feedback. Days 5 to 9. Collect daily 60-second check-ins and a 20-minute end-of-week huddle to iterate. Success criteria: 50% adoption in the pilot and measurable time saved or reduced rework. Real-world example: we piloted a single intake form with 2 autofill fields for priority and routing. That small change removed manual triage work and reduced misrouted items by 40% in the first week. The secret wasn't the form. It was the conversations with people who did the work. They suggested the 2 fields and how to word them, so the form matched their mental model. When people see their ideas in the system, they champion it. That's operational empathy in action. Key takeaways. 1. Process change fails when systems ignore how people actually work. 2. Map friction by listening to frontline voices, not by decree. 3. Run small, reversible experiments and embed quick feedback rhythms. Reflection prompt. Where in your organization are systems asking people to be something other than what they actually do? Write that down. It's your starting point. One clear action step. Tomorrow, book 3 15-minute conversations with frontline contributors and use the interview script I shared. Create a 1-page friction map from those talks. If you do nothing else this week, do that. It will change how you see the problem, and change is easier when you see it through other people's lenses. Lead with purpose and create lasting impact. If this episode added value, subscribe to the Kunate Impact Show so you won't miss future frameworks and practical plays for leaders and operators. Share this with a teammate who's trying to get a small change to stick. Your next experiment could be the difference between another failed rollout and a durable improvement. Thank you for listening to the Kunate Impact Show. If today's episode added value, share it with someone who's committed to growth. And remember, real leadership isn't about position or title. It's about influence and impact. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and creating a lasting impact. Tatai.